Hey everybody, welcome to an episode of POVincent. Just want to say sorry that this review is a few days late. I've started two new jobs in the past week and a half, so I've been a little busy. But here it is, my review for War for the Planet of the Apes. I think it's important to note that the original 1968 Planet of the Apes is a bit of a sci-fi classic, and it was really big for its time. I mean, hell, it spawned four theatrical sequels, a live-action television series, and a cartoon series. Now, admittedly, none of those were as big as the original, but hey, they gave it a shot, or they were just after money. So, what happens in this latest installment? Well, Caesar and the apes are looking for a new homeland to settle on, but unfortunately, a group of soldiers led by a man only known as the Colonel is out to kill them all. And after one attack, Caesar is out for revenge, and unfortunately, his revenge is going to lead the apes down a dark path. Once again, Andy Serkis returns to do the motion capture acting for the main character, Caesar. As before, Caesar, he's the focus of the film. And he's trying to find a new homeland for the apes. But after this attack happens by the Colonel, he's more focused on getting back at the humans, which has always been a struggle in these movies. He's bloodthirsty, he wants to take this guy out, but unfortunately, it causes Caesar to forget like what his responsibilities are, and that gets the apes into a lot of trouble. Now, here's the one thing about Caesar's character, and I want to stress a couple of things here. One, Andy Serkis's performance as Caesar, once again, it's great. You really see the emotions on his face. Andy Serkis is just great at being expressive with his face, and his tone of voice and the way he does Caesar is great. That's all great. And it's one of the parts of the film I enjoy the most. However, Caesar's character arc gets a little wonky towards the end. Like all characters, he goes through, a journey or whatever, and they learn something, and the character becomes changed by the end of the story. Caesar goes through something similar, but then all of a sudden his character arc kind of devolves there, and it's very disappointing. He seems to have changed, but then he changes not all the way back. It's not really what I wanted to see for this character's last film. Joining the movie is Woody Harrelson as the Colonel. The Colonel is pretty much a straightforward villain. Something horrible happened to him in his life, and it's caused him to see the world in black and white. And he's also a proponent of the idea that the ends justify the means. Woody Harrelson's performance is fine in this. He doesn't do bad at all. It's just the villain's pretty straightforward. He's not horrible. He's okay. Nothing really memorable. But at the same time, that's a bad thing because this is the last movie in this trilogy, and I was kind of hoping for a better villain. An okay villain, but not the one I wanted. Caesar's right hand ape Maurice, of course, returns in this film, but also this time Maurice has taken on the role of caretaker. A young, innocent little girl is found by the apes, and she's all alone. So they decide to take her in, though Caesar's not all for it at first. And Maurice tries to help communicate with her because she has some kind of, I don't want to say what it is, but I'll say she has some kind of mental illness, we'll say for now, and she cannot speak. She really can't communicate. So Maurice kind of teaches her some sign language, and they gain each other's trust over the point of the film. The young girl is played by Amaya Miller, and I gotta say, she does pretty good in this movie. She has a scene where she has to cry, and it's a convincing cry. It's not like a fake, like you see some child actors do. She actually pulls it off very well. However, the scene where she cries, it how do I put this? It wasn't merited, and I think it's a bigger problem of the film. And if you see it, you'll probably know what I'm talking about in terms of her relationship to the apes. A new ape joins us by the name of Bad Ape, played by Steve Zahn. Bad Ape, and that's not me being mean, that's really what the character calls himself. Bad Ape, he was part of another group of apes, but they were all killed off, and he's been by himself for a long time. And because he's been by himself for a long time, he's a little cuckoo for them Cocoa Puffs. And he's a little weird, but he's funny. He adds some humorous, lighthearted moments to the film that's kind of needed, considering a lot of the moments are filled with dread and, sadness. So he's a welcome addition to this movie. You kind of needed that character for this film. The pacing in this film is just fine, in my opinion, and there are also some cool shots. I remember early in the film there's a nice overhead shot with the soldiers, and I thought it was cool. Technically, the movie is fine. Um, However, if I gotta say what one of the bigger problems with the film is, the title is misleading. The movie is called War for the Planet of the Apes, but it's really not that war-y. Don't get me wrong, there's some battles in there, gunfire, explosions, there's battles, but it's not the battles that we wanted. It's not the real, without spoiling things, it's not what we wanted. Especially, there's a big battle at the end, but it's not what we wanted out of the big battle at the end. So, unfortunately, that is one of the bigger problems with the film. A better title may have been Finality of the Planet of the Apes, something like Survival. Oh, wait, no, was one of the other films called Survival? I don't know. Point is, War of the Planet of the Apes, not the best title, and it kind of lets you down when you see the movie. So, anyway, guys, would I recommend you see this film? Would I recommend you take a skip on it? Well, that's kind of hard. This is the last movie in this trilogy, unless they decide to do more, but as far as I know, this is the last one. Uh, as I said, Caesar's pretty good in this film, except for his character arc kind of takes a dip towards the end. Woody Harrelson's fine as the villain, but that's it. He's just fine. There's not there's something missing with this villain. I need a little more for this conclusion to this new trilogy. And like I said, it's not as war filled as you would think. Don't get me wrong, there's some good scenes in it. Like I said, all the actors do fine at worst. Most of them do well. But unfortunately, it's not the great conclusion that we wanted. So I would say it's not a bad movie, so I can't say don't go see it. So I will say see it, but if you're a fan of the series, go in a little cautiously. Well, anyway, guys, that's my review for War for the Planet of the Apes. What is your point of view? Tell me down in the comments. And as always, I want to thank you for viewing things through my perspective.